Hey, it's me. Today in the compost world, what I'm doing is I'm filling my bioreactor. So let me give you a look here. I'm about halfway through, and what I got going on here is those breather vents we talked about, and then I've been using a bucket on the tractor here. And the trick of doing this where we live is we got to get this stuff at 70% moisture. And really, this stuff, if it's been laying out for a season, is just dry as a bone. So what I end up doing is I just end up soaking. You can see I've got some hay in here. Basically, for uric acid, I've been peeing on a bale of hay for the last year, getting it nice and nitrogen fixed up. I'll wet that down, mix it in with this compost, and then what I'll do here is I've got what's called a moisture meter. And that moisture meter here, really simple tool, basically reads from 0 to 10. You can calibrate it to what you like. And what we like in here is we like to be able to pick up this manure, be able to squeeze it, and maybe get a drop of water out of it. But that's what I've been told is called 70% moisture. On my scale here, though, I've got it calibrated to where an 8 is right at that 70% moisture. So what I end up doing is I end up kind of poking through, looking for that 8. And sometimes I'm at a 10, sometimes I'm at a 4. And when I see that, I just kind of move the water around a little bit more. Get it wet, get it sprinkled, and continue to kind of keep on double checking. And when I got it ready, I pop it in a bucket, and I get my reading here. And you can see right there, I'm sitting right around 8, and that's pretty darn good. And so when it's good, I go ahead and dump it on in here. And as I dump, I'm kind of jumping in there and stomping down those vents, because we want those vents going straight vertical, because in a few days we will pluck those vents out, and those will be breathers for our little microorganisms. They're set about 1 foot, maybe 15 inches apart. And you got to keep those air gaps clean so that you got water or air circulating through. And then I've got it all sitting on pallets too, so we can get some airflow underneath and up and in. So that's where I'm at today. This will probably take me a full day, maybe even 2, to get done right. And then hopefully in a couple of days, we'll start seeing this temperature gauge on the rise. So this is a 3-foot temperature gauge, and basically you'll pluck it in there and hope to see it rise. Now I've got a few amendments that I'm adding to this mixture to give it a good nitrogen fix. I've got an inoculation of a compost I used last year, high fungal compost. That is vermicompost castings. And this is from Dave West down in the San Luis Valley. He's been working on a similar project the last few years. So I'll get those good organisms diving on in there, hopefully swimming around. The other thing I got here is just a yellowish looking alfalfa tea. Basically, it's a 3rd bale of alfalfa, or I take that back. It's a 55-gallon drum. I'd fill it up about 1/3 with alfalfa, then top it off with water, and let it sit for a few weeks. And so what I'm doing is just kind of integrating that into there, dumping it through, mixing it up, and letting it soak in. The other piece of the puzzle I have here that'll give us some nitrogen is just some humic acid. I've got it in the granular form. So basically after a scoop coming out of the dump, coming out of the bucket, I go ahead and throw a bunch of that over the top, and hopefully over time the water will break it down, mix it up. And lastly, the other thing with high nitrogen that I like to throw in is chicken manure. So I've got a bunch of chicken manure in here, and again, similar to what I'm doing with the humic acid and with the compost from last year, is I continue to sort of space it out throughout the bioreactor here in hopes that it'll all spread through. And that temperature will go ahead and rise on me. One other thing I've got going, since I am using a bucket, I've got some covers for my vents. And the reason I want covers on there, and basically I've got some buckets and some potting, well, some pots and some little baggies that sit over the top. That way when I'm dumping the bucket over the top, none of that stuff will fall through the air vents and clog up our air vents. So again, that's what I got going on. Oh, I'm about halfway through and hope to be finished today or tomorrow. Talk soon.